So my name is Jason McKenzie. I'm here with the Long Beach Barnhart branch. I've been here for about 2 years now. On this project, I was brought in, and maybe my fourth or fifth month here at Barnhart, this became my baby. So very early on, my background is I come from commercial construction and demolition. And so taking on this project was a massive undertaking for me, but it was very exciting at the same time. So majority of this haul occurred in the United States, with about 10 to 20 miles occurring in Mexico. We hauled 10 pieces for Siemens Energy, 6 generators and 4 turbines, all approximately about 728,000 pounds each, with a total trailer length of about 320 feet. The weight of the trailers was about 1.2 million pounds each, and it is the biggest load that Arizona has ever permitted in the history of the state. We actually changed some of the rules around heavy hauling in some of the counties we hauled in because it was such a large super load. Our point of origin, it was being shipped from North Carolina all the way down to Yuma, Arizona for each one. And we were offloading it there on site at the rail spur in Yuma and bringing it down to Mexico. We had 2 sites that we were traveling to in Sonora, Mexico, and one in Mexicali. Some of the site challenges is both projects are generating stations. So their energy, they're very regulated, which required kind of special circumstances for us. Many of our folks do not speak Spanish. I speak a little bit of Spanish, but it's enough to get by. And so we did have some logistical challenges there, kind of communicating on site with their people and our people. A huge logistical project going through different country, different customs, different cultures, and a different language. So for this project, we had almost 5,000 man hours. We basically ran from permitting stages in May 2023 all the way into the end of the job, January 1st of 2024. Some of the biggest challenges, logistically speaking, as we got rerouted several times. Due to construction on the very obvious route at the time, Route 8, we were rerouted due to width restrictions, and we had to go all the way back through California from Arizona to come back in through Mexicali and kind of go all the way around through Palm Desert. And there were a couple of reasons this got complicated. Tropical storm came in through the Gulf of Mexico on the coast, and it quite literally washed away many of the roads that were on our route. There are several pictures of up to about this high, 8 feet high, taller than myself, of mud, sand, dirt, rocks on Palm Desert and Palm Springs roads. You literally could not traverse through them, to the point that we actually asked permission if we could bring in like a loader and clear out these roadways. We were told no, but it was worth asking. So we worked with a couple of really big agencies, California Border Patrol and kind of CBP overall being, the Federal Border Patrol at both sites were a pleasure to work with, and were extremely accommodating, both on the Mexican side and the United States side. A lot of different personalities, a lot of colonels on the Mexican side. The military controls the Mexican side of the border. So CBP, who is in charge of Border Patrol, they're more of a federally kind of funded operation. They're not the military, right? For example, if you were driving down in Sonora, Mexicali, it was normal to see, troop trucks carrying, 50 cal machine guns and whatnot driving by. Not something you see every day in America when you're trying to cross the border. So, a lot of culture shock that goes on. Most of the traffic that comes through there are kind of flatbeds and kind of standard trailers and prime movers. So we are the exception to all those rules. Once we kind of walk through, we walk through the process. We have to figure out what the routing is. The Mexican side over in Sonora was actually doing construction on their facility throughout the project. And that site was changing every time we crossed. There were new lights, certain posts were gone, roads disappeared. The route we went through on the first 3 was not available on the last 2 because they were changing the gates in and out. So every time we crossed, it happened to change. But through a lot of teamwork and collaboration, we were kind of able to finally get them together and we established a crossing. We actually helped with some of the facility improvements. They would change schedules for us. They were very great to work with, especially on the Sonora side. The Mexican permitting process is much different than the United States. We actually had to go down to Mexico City ourselves and go speak with the director of SCIT, which is essentially their version of our DOT. They permitted everything at the same time rather than each individual load. But every time that we had to go do each individual load, we just had to go tell them, and they would basically give us approval for that. And so one of the big logistical challenges we had to our project in Mexicali, there is one bridge going into the city. This bridge was very old, and the way that SCIT infrastructure works is they do not have a reservoir of engineers, bridge analysis, and whatnot that gets performed on bridges. So you kind of have to go do that all on your own. So we did have to set up bridge jumpers for this bridge that we crossed with the 320-foot GS800 trailer, 4 60-foot bridge jumpers, and setting up those to meet the exact math we needed for the kind of axles going over there with all those tires. So that was probably one of the big challenges that we did have in the field that we figured out. Traffic functions a lot differently in Mexico. We had a lot of people going around us while we were driving, even with police escorts, just because different country, different times, different norms. So kind of working around that, keeping the guys safe was really important to us kind of as we worked. We actually put into play 2 GS800 trailers. So during January 2024, we actually mobilized our second GS800 trailer, and we had 2 320-foot long trailers running simultaneously for the same project in 2 different states. One going through Arizona and one going through California, going to the Mexicali site. And that was probably one of the first, I believe, in Barnhart history of running two GS800s on the same project simultaneously. We actually delivered it right before their big deadline hit, and they're very successful for us and a happy customer at the end. We actually imported several of our Barnhart equipment, such as our pull-up gantries and beams and slide system, to actually be able to offload our pieces directly in Mexico. This was like one of the most complex heavy haul jobs I've performed. I'd say most of the people here at this Los Angeles branch would agree with that. The amount of organizations that we had to connect to be together to make this haul function as a well-oiled machine is numerous. From starting in Yuma, just from Yuma County, through all the individual counties we haul with, to United States Border Patrol, then to essentially Mexican Border Patrol, then to the Mexican city and the Mexican governor. Many of the mayors, both mayors, the Sonora and in Mexicali, actually gave their blessing to these loads coming through because they're very proud of the 2 projects that we were delivering to. They actually helped subsidize our police escorts cost because they were so proud of this new energy generator that's going to bring power to many Mexicans in the area. So we had a lot of local support on top of all of the kind of industries we were working with. This was an extremely challenging project, just from every phase, from start to finish, between unprecedented weather, permitting times, the amount of agencies and leadership we were dealing with, and the open arms that they didn't give us coming into Mexico and doing what is essentially once-in-a-lifetime hauls for many of these kind of border officers, 10 times, essentially. It was a pleasure.